In this video, we'll take a closer look at the Rainbird Internet Connected Water Meter Portal, also known as the ICWM portal. Let's start by going to rainbird.com/ICWM. Here you'll find a wealth of information about the ICWM products, including videos, features, models, specifications, and manuals and literature. On the right-hand side of this page, you'll find a link to the ICWM portal. You can also go directly to the portal by typing icwm.rainbird.com into a web browser. It's important to note that the same portal is used by both consumers and administrators, such as utility services managers, HOA managers, facility managers, consultants, etc. However, the user interface will be different depending on the user type. We'll explore those differences throughout this video. Existing users can sign in using their username and password. To set up a new meter, click Create New Account. Enter the basic information, account information, and address information, and then enter the VNID and passcode found on the sticker attached to the meter. Click Register and an email with the login and password will be generated. Let's first take a look inside the utility portal. Then we'll look at the consumer portal, as well as the tablet or smartphone app. The first thing we see is the Overview tab, as well as a number of other tabs along the left-hand side. The Overview provides daily totals for all VN/VNR equipped meters within the utility. It also provides updates regarding new releases and recently implemented enhancements to the portal. The Account Lookup tab provides detailed usage reports for individual meters. We can see the customer ID, name, address, VNID, the size of the meter, billing read, the reads in the previous 24 hours, the last read date, and any conditions that have been observed by the system. Over on the right, we have a few more diagnostic tools. The Endpoint Configuration and Manage Set Conditions pop-up can be used to view endpoint details, hide conditions, and download RSSI connection history. The maintenance icon allows us to view and modify customer information, such as their account number, name, or property address. And lastly, the gauge icon takes us directly to the consumer portal for a specific meter. We can filter this list or search for a specific account very easily. Account usage is also used for creating reports based on consumption-triggered flags such as leaks, high flow, zero use, etc. Let's take a moment to discuss how the data is collected. Each meter is programmed to record water usage throughout the day. Around midnight each day, the register uploads all of the day's data, as well as any data from the past that may be missing. The data is analyzed and updated in the portal. This process can take up to several hours, so if you notice any data is missing, please check again at a later time. The Maps tab provides a visual display of all endpoints, as well as any conditions associated with them. For example, if the entire northwest region of a community was showing a high flow scenario, it's definitely something you'd want to look into. The Analytics tab provides calculated statistics and summary information for all meters within the utility account. In this case, we have 11 threshold leak conditions, 17 leak conditions, 20 intermittent leak conditions, etc. You can filter by account status, billing profile, and group, or by time and date. Lastly, you can export a report in a variety of formats. The Water Loss tab provides supply-side data analysis, such as district metered areas, or DMAs. Let's look at how that works. Let's say you have one meter that's on your main line and then two additional meters downstream. Your master meter might read 100 gallons. The two downstream meters should therefore total up to 100 gallons. If they don't, you would see various graphs representing the amount of water lost. The Billing tab allows the utility to import account information into the portal, as well as export read data to generate bills. Simply select the date range and click Export. This creates a text file that you can easily import into third-party applications. You can generate billing read reports, which shows you all the meter VN IDs, customer names, read dates, LCD reads, etc., as well as consumption reports. The System Status tab provides the utility with information about how well the system is performing on a daily basis. It tells you the total number of accounts, how many are providing billing reads, and how many are missing reads. You can filter by account status, billing profile, and group, or by time and date. The Settings tab is used to set flag priorities, control login capabilities for both consumers and other utility representatives, and to set things such as default measuring units. You'll see a second tier of menu items on the left-hand side, starting with Condition Management. Let's take a closer look at some of these conditions. Conditions are system-generated alarms that are triggered when certain situations occur. To edit a condition, select it, click Edit, update one or more fields, and click Save. The conditions can also be disabled altogether. To enable email notifications whenever a condition is triggered, click Notify and add one or more portal users or email addresses. These email notifications are sent daily. Condition Priorities changes the order that conditions appear throughout the portal, so the conditions at the top of this list show up further to the left whenever one or more condition alerts are visible. The Daily Alert Schedule allows you to enable or disable alerts on specific days of the week. Now let's take a closer look at some of the conditions. The threshold leak condition is the maximum flow allowed on a consistent basis. For example, you may be aware that an older system has some small leaks, but you would want to be notified of any leaks that exceed the 0.25 gallon per minute threshold. The intermittent leak condition is a consistent amount of flow over a specific time period that is recurring. For example, if a customer's pool was leaking but had an autofill feature once the water dropped to a certain level, the intermittent leak notification would be triggered. The percent used condition looks at how much water is being used during a 24-hour period. In most residential homes, irrigation and showers take place in the morning, then the residents typically leave for work and don't use much water during the day. They return home in the evening and may use some water for cooking and cleaning. So in this case, if the system reads water usage for more than 55% of the day, the percent use condition will be triggered. The backflow condition is triggered anytime a meter records water going backwards at a certain flow rate. In this example, it ranges from 0.5 gallons to 10 gallons, depending on the size of the meter. A zero usage condition is triggered if the system records no flow for more than a certain number of days. In this example, it ranges from 15 to 5 days, depending on the size of the meter. This would identify if a meter has been tampered with or is not properly recording flow. The high meter flow condition is triggered whenever the flow rate exceeds a certain threshold for that specific meter. This condition may occur as the result of a fire or if there are several devices running at once. In this example, the high usage condition ranges from 15 gallons to 2,000 gallons, depending on the size of the meter. The high usage condition is triggered whenever a meter or endpoint exceeds a certain flow threshold during a specific day. In this example, the high usage threshold ranges from 1,000 gallons on a 5/8 inch meter to 30,000 gallons on a 16-inch meter. For example, if you have an irrigation system or cooling tower that starts to use more than it's supposed to, this is where you would discover that. The unauthorized use condition allows the portal administrator to create a list of meters that shouldn't be in use. If the system reads water flow on one of these meters, the condition will be triggered. For example, if a customer didn't pay their bill, but then broke the lock and turned the water service back on. The unexpected use condition allows a customer to set a time frame when they will be away from the property and aren't expecting any water usage. This is particularly useful for vacation homes. Please note that the portal administrator cannot edit this field in the utility portal. It can only be set within the consumer portal under notifications. A watering event condition is triggered anytime water flow exceeds the threshold during a set period of time. This notification can be used to ensure that consumers stay within watering restrictions such as a daily schedule. For example, on a 5/8 inch meter, the threshold is 7 gallons per minute over a 5-minute period. The configuration settings provide even more detail and allows you to set watering restrictions within a specific time window, by a certain number of days per week, by even or odd addresses and days, or by using a specific schedule. A leak condition is triggered anytime there is consistent flow recorded over an extended period of time. A meter should never be running 24/7, so the system will alert you if it is. This is a system-generated notification, so it's not editable. The reception consistency condition defines when the portal administrator will be notified of missing reads. It's designed to notify the utility when reception is deemed a potential problem, but not to create a nuisance with an overload of alerts. An endpoint will be flagged and included in the notification report if it's within certain conditions. In this example, it's 2 consecutive days of missed reads, or 3 days of missed reads within the last 2 weeks. The signal strength condition defines when the portal administrator will be notified of endpoints with low signal strength. It's designed to notify the utility when signal strength is deemed a potential problem, but not to create a nuisance with an overload of alerts. An endpoint will be flagged and included in the notification report if it's within certain conditions. In this example, it's 3 consecutive days of low signal strength, or 5 days of low signal strength within the last 2 weeks. There are several different user types you can add to the ICWM portal. Let's begin by clicking Add User and selecting a role. We'll create a consumer user, which is typically an end user or homeowner. This provides a limited view of a specific meter. Select a meter ID in the system, enter some key pieces of information, and click Save. An email is automatically sent to that user with their login and password. Please note that a meter can only be assigned to one consumer user account. Another user type is a billing profile user. This allows a user to see every meter within a specific billing profile. A group user can see every meter inside of a group. And lastly, a utility user can see every meter inside the system. You can also edit the users. You can reset their password, delete a user, or temporarily disable a user. Billing profile management allows you to set the date range for the billing profile. You can set the dates to be the first through the end of the month, or you can set it to be mid-month to mid-month. Groups management allows you to create a collection of meters within the system. For example, we could create a West Branch group, and then we'd add all of the meters that are associated with the West Branch region. Please note that most screens can be filtered by group. General settings allow you to modify the display units within the portal. This does not change the readout on the meters themselves. You can also choose the time zone that you want to view the system in. Billing settings allow you to modify the number of days within the billing window and a number of other data points. Resource URLs are customizable links that are visible within the consumer portal. Here's what that looks like to a consumer user. In the water budget settings, we can see the default water budgets for each size of meter. So if you wanted to edit the on-target amounts for all 1-inch meters, we could change that to 2,500 gallons per month. You can also add new labels to the system or lock these water budget settings so that other users can't modify them. Labels are levels or tiers of water usage. Water budgets can be used when tiered water rates are in effect to ensure users are not using water that would move them into the next tier. Similar to the resource URL settings, you can create custom messages in the Message Center settings. These messages are visible in the consumer portal. The menu settings allow you to modify which menu icons are visible on the utility portal, as well as in the consumer portal. For example, if we want to hide the Maps tab in the utility portal, we can turn that feature off. To simplify the consumer interface, we might want to turn off the environmental or the watering settings. Be sure to click Save. Logo settings allow you to change out the Rainbird logo in the top left corner of the ICWM portal for your company logo. Select Choose File and then click Upload. Flow rate settings are minimum and maximum ranges that are used to trigger conditions. Select the meter size, modify the flow rate settings, and click Save. Meter registration allows you to add a new meter to your system. Enter the customer information, VNID and passcode found on the sticker that came with the meter, and select Register. The Support tab provides options for contacting Rainbird support. This email goes directly to the ICWM support team. Now let's take a deeper look at the utility portal. We can see that this account has multiple conditions showing. If we hover over these conditions, we can see that a leak condition has been reported by the system. Unexpected use is also showing, as well as a watering restriction violation. When a consumer user logs into the system, this is what they will see. The tab layout is a little different than the utility portal. Let's take a closer look. On the dashboard, consumers can view some of their account information, including their meter's current LCD read, water consumption over a period of time, billing read and read date, water consumption so far this month, projected water budget status, conditions, as well as the size of their meter. They can also view messages from the utility. On the Consumption History tab, we can see additional details about the meter's flow rate and consumption. We can hover over any one point and see exactly what our water usage was, down to 0.01 gallons per minute. As you can see on this account, we have somewhere between a 0.05 and 0.06 gallon per minute leak detected on the system because it never actually drops to zero. These high usage areas are most likely irrigation. We can zoom into one of these irrigation periods by adjusting the time interval. Again, if we hover over an area, we can see the flow rate. This looks to be a small irrigation zone. This is probably a shower, and again we can see that leak throughout here. We can also use this screen to identify water usage for a specific time period during this day. This irrigation schedule starts somewhere around 7:15 p.m. and ends around 8:30 p.m. To see exactly how much water was used during a specific time frame, we can simply take the bars and drag them like this. And we can see that during this time frame, approximately 690 gallons flowed through the meter for irrigation. These screens can also be exported to PDF and sent to a customer. Here's another way we can use this information. Let's get an estimate of the irrigation threshold on this meter. As we pointed out earlier, these are probably showers, but this looks to be irrigation, and this is obviously all irrigation. So we're going to say that our threshold for irrigation is 4 gallons a minute. So anything above 4 gallons a minute is considered irrigation. We'll use this in the next section. Usage analysis gives us a breakdown of water usage by flow rate for the time period specified. So in the last week, if we set our irrigation threshold to 4 gallons per minute, as we determine on the Consumption History tab, we can see that our irrigation usage was approximately 3,300 gallons. Leak detection was 307 gallons. Domestic usage was 1,159 gallons. Our total usage was 4,762 gallons, and our leak rate was 0.02 gallons per minute. And this is shown in different ways. we've got a bar graph here broken down by date, as well as a breakdown by percentage. In this case, about 6.5% of our water usage over the past week was a leak, over 300 gallons of water wasted. These reports are exportable as well. Water Budget allows the user to view the pre-generated water budgets, or they can set their own. This is very handy for tiered water rates because it allows them to see exactly how they're doing against their water budget. In this example, the user is probably going to exceed their water budget, so they might look to restrict their water usage for the remainder of the period in order to stay within that first tier. We can change the cycle budget and it will update these screens on the fly. Watering displays all days for which there has been a watering event. If we click this icon, we can see the day's flow rate. These icons also indicate whether there was a watering restriction violation or a daytime watering event. These thresholds are all set in the watering event condition. Flow rate analysis allows the user to see their water usage in several different ways. The bottom left chart displays the flow rate history maximum, minimum, and average. The top right chart displays the flow rate breakdown as a percentage of overall use. So in this case, over 67% of the water is used at a flow rate of over 5 gallons per minute. The time of use graph is helpful in determining the best time to water. For maximum pressure and flow, it's best to choose a time when water usage is very low. So we can see that somewhere in the morning is probably the best scenario. The environmental dashboard allows the user to monitor the meter's temperature throughout the day. This tool is typically used by the portal administrator and does not reflect water temperature. This screen allows the user to set any notifications that they would like to receive. For example, if they're going out of town and no water is expected to be used during that time, they can set an unexpected usage period. If the system detects any water flow during that period, it will notify the user. This is also very helpful for monitoring second homes. Resources are links to water utility and water conservation websites. Earlier, we demonstrated how these resources can be customized in the settings section of the utility portal. Now let's take a quick look at the ICWM tablet and smartphone app, which is available on the iOS App Store and Google Play Store. The login information for the app is automatically generated by adding users in the portal. Users with multiple meters can use the search feature to find a specific meter. As you can see, the same information that is visible in the consumer portal is also visible in the ICWM app. Please note that only group users, billing profile users, and consumer users have access to the mobile applications. This concludes the demo of the Rainbird ICWM portal. For more information, please visit rainbird.com/ICWM. To connect with one of the members of the ICWM support team, email us at icwm@rainbird.com. Thanks for watching.